Shalom. Yahweh Hashem Shabbat all the brothers. Shalom. Yahweh Shemal Athad Hashem Yahweh Shad all the sisters. Salaki, we've been having some technical difficulties, but we got the class up and running. Go ahead and sign in with your name, city, and state. And if you have any questions, go ahead and type them into the chat, Baba Kasha.
I'm gonna go run my charger real quick. So
Ain't no sweat. Again, if you got any questions, go ahead and type them into the chat, Baba Kasha.
should we live?
What was that, sir? I mean, so like, what was that?
I was gonna ask something about the about Spectrum, but I'll just wait till after class session.
All right, no sweat. So like, we're gonna start right here. It says argument 2.
Argument 2.
Gonna read that first line up to that second highlighted word.
This the history of the American Indians by James Adair. Argument 2. By a strict, permanent divine precept, the Hebrew nation were ordered to worship at Jerusalem Jehovah.
So, what James Adair is bringing out in his book is he's mentioning that the Hebrews worship who the world knows as Jehovah, or who we in the ISUPK call Yahweh. You understand? And so he's making a comparison between the North American Indians and the Hebrew people, because a lot of people like to say the Native Americans are not Israelites, or you know what I mean, or the Native Americans come from China, or they worshipped all these different gods and these different religions and things like that. Well, none of that is true. The Native Americans actually worship the Most High. So read that sentence again, Baba Kashaf.
By a strict permanent divine precept, the Hebrew nation were ordered to worship at Jerusalem, Jehovah.
So the Hebrew people were ordered according to the Bible. That divine precept that he's talking about is the Bible, the Old Testament. You understand? Back during the Salakia, back during the when Moses wrote the Torah. You understand? By those divine precepts, the Hebrew people were ordered to worship Jehovah. You understand? Read on.
The true and living God, in who by the Indians is styled Yahweh.
So what do the native Indians call him?
Yahweh.
So the native Indians called the Most High Yahweh. You understand? So what other people on this earth now who came and taught the native Indians who Yahweh was?
Right.
You understand? This is James Adair. He's one of the people that he's one of the American settlers. You understand? Who, you know, the Christian world supposedly introduced the Most High to the native Indians. Correct? Am I wrong?
Right.
Because they were worshiping all these other gods. Correct? But the native Indians worship Yahweh. You understand? And not Ahia. You understand? Not God.
Right.
You understand? He worshiped Yahweh. You understand? And skip down to that next highlighted part, Baba Kashaf.
But these Indians, Americans, pay their religion devar to Lok Eshta'alu Abba, the great beneficent, supreme Holy Spirit of fire, who resides, as they think, above the clouds.
So think about it like this, right? So the God that the native Indians worship was what? A flaming fire, correct? All right, so check this out. We're going to show you something, right? Hold on, Salakia. Give me 1 second. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 24. Baba Kashaf.
What was the verse?
Deuteronomy 4 and 24.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 24. For the Lord thy God is a consuming fire.
Is a what?
Consuming fire.
You understand? So it says the Lord thy God, Yahweh, is a consuming fire. You understand? And the Native Americans knew this. How did they know this? You understand? If supposedly they didn't have access to the Bible, if they weren't the Hebrew Israelites, if they weren't the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, how did they know this? You understand? How did they know this? You understand? Anything else on that highlighted part?
Above the clouds and on earth, also with unpolluted people.
Said an unpolluted people. You understand? An unpolluted people. You understand? That what that's talking about is, hold on, read that again.
above the clouds and on earth also with unpolluted people.
So he says that the Lord, think about that. Think about what Yahushua said. When Yahushua said, "Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." You understand? So what he's talking about, what the native Indians are talking about, these unpolluted people, is talking about the kingdom, the people who serve the Most High. How the Lord is with them. You understand? How when you serve the Lord and keep the law, statutes, and commandments, the Lord is with you. You understand? Anything else on that?
That was all on the highlighted for that section.
All right, and read the next section, the next highlighted section for me, Baba Kasha.
The ceremonies of the Indians in their religions, in their religious worship, are more after the Mosaic institution.
Hold on, read that again.
The ceremonies of the Indians in their religious worship.
So the ceremonies of the Indians and their religious worship. You understand the ceremonies of all the feasts that they celebrated. You understand their high holy days, the way they kept these customs. You understand? Was read on?
Are more after the Mosaic institution.
So are more after the Mosaic institution, meaning that they're more biblical.
Right.
They come from the Bible. Read on.
Then a pagan imitation.
Than a pagan imitation. You understand? Guess what a pagan imitation is? When a so-called Jewish man celebrate the Passover. That's a pagan imitation. You understand? The way the Jewish men celebrate Hanukkah. That's a pagan imitation. You understand? Oh, Salakia. I had just seen that red flashing, and I was thinking it was saying somebody was behind the building. Salakia. But yeah, so what he's saying is that, you know, the customs that the Native Americans had when they celebrated their feast days came from the Bible, clearly. The way they operated their feast days. Read on.
Which could not be if the majority of the old natives were of heathenish descent.
Let me give you an example on how I'm gonna give you a comparison between what he's saying. You understand? When you look at a black man in the ISUPK, you understand, and he learns that he's an Israelite and he starts to do his 90 days. You understand? He starts wearing his fringes, his studs, and starts taking on the spirit of the Lord. You understand? He becomes strong and becomes powerful. You understand? But when you look at a heathen like the so-called Ashanti tribe in Africa, who call themselves Jews, you understand? They wearing the little yarmulkes on their head, got the little white towels tied around their neck. You understand? Got the shoestrings hanging off their shirt. You understand? Eating crackers and calling the so-called Jewish man his brother. You understand? Go ahead, Doc.
We got a question too, sir.
Go ahead. What's the question?
The young man Mikey said, sir, how do we truly worship the Lord?
How do we truly worship the Lord? You start by coming into the ISUPK. And you start by doing your 90 days and learning how to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. You understand? It begins with learning who you are as a nation. Then you have to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. That is how you worship the Lord. You understand? You come into the ISUPK and you start keeping the feast days. You pay your tithes. You come to the Passover. You understand? God, Lord willing, you go to camp. You understand? You understand, and you raise up a family in the truth. You understand? That's how you serve the Most High. That's how you truly do it. How the Christian church truly does it is a direct opposite of what the Bible says to do. You understand? They don't keep the law, statutes, and commandments. You understand? They don't come into the church, come into the school and do their 90 days. You understand? They don't keep the feast days and high holy days. You understand? That's how you truly serve the Most High. You understand? It begins with coming to class and learning how to shed yourself of the world, how to shed yourself of who you are in the world. The drug addict, the drug dealer, the pimp, the whore, the gangbanger. You understand? You start by letting the old you die. You understand? That's how you truly serve the Most High. Go ahead. Any other questions?
Nah, sir.
You understand? If you it's like you, little brother. You understand? So like if you need me to go any further on what I just said, just say so. You said a brother's name Mikey?
Yeah, young man Mikey.
Young man Mikey, shalom. Where's the brother from? Columbia, Most High in Christ. Is that the one that came to camp? Oh, Most High in Christ. Yeah, you on the right track, Mikey. You on the right track. You stay tuned into the class and you learn the law, statutes, and commandments. You understand? You start focusing on keeping the law, statutes, and commandments and following any lawful order that the men above you give you. You understand? And that's where it starts. You understand? And the scriptures say, prepare your soul for temptation when you take this walk. You understand? Because Satan is going. Satan, you want to know when you're truly serving the Most High? When Satan come knocking. You understand? When Satan come knocking. You understand? I remember when I believe it was right before I got my heat. No, it was right before I became an officer. You understand? I just started hearing voices. I wasn't voices, but I just started getting these thoughts in my head out of nowhere. Like I was just getting these thoughts like, look at them niggas teaching that class. They are damn cold. You understand? They ain't serving the Most High. They are damn cold. Look at them, got the 6-point shield on. You know that's satanic. You out here worshiping the devil. And then I just started thinking like, damn, am I in the cult? Am I worshiping the devil? And then I just thought for a second, I'm like, man, damn that. The UPK ain't never told me no lie, man. You understand? I had to stand up against my own thoughts, and then I called and got counsel. You understand? And then counsel told me, said, yeah, you definitely got Satan coming at you. You understand? Because that's how it come, man. It start with these thoughts that you start having in your head. You understand? And that's what make brothers leave the truth is them thoughts. You understand? That's why you always get counsel. You understand? Always get counsel. You understand? Even when you think it's something that you know, just be sure.
Right.
You understand? Like we have a saying in UPK, don't be sure, make sure.
Right.
You understand? I got counsel 5 minutes before I walked in the building on a situation. You understand? Get counsel. You understand? And that's a demon even in itself is not wanting to get counsel. You understand? But that's where it starts. You have to start by coming to class. You understand? And for some brothers, it's an easy thing to do is come to class. But you got some brothers, that's the hardest thing in the world to do. It's just to show up.
Right.
You understand? Majority, think about it. If it was that easy to serve the Lord, we'd be bigger than TD Jakes.
Right.
You understand? Bigger than Creflo. If it was that easy. You understand? But it's a reason why it's only it's a small handful of brothers in the truth. And it's a sea of brothers in the world.
Right.
You understand? So it starts with doing your 90 days, learning how to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. You know, wear your fringes. You understand? Embody that spirit. You understand? Because as you start to keep the laws, you start to learn the Hebrew, you start to follow the culture, then you start to take on the Holy Spirit. You understand? So that's where it begins. You start by doing your 90 days. Get you a Hebrew name. All of that comes into play. You understand? So you on the right track. Just stay in class.
Right.
You understand? Stay in class and ask questions. You understand? So, you know what I mean? So that's how you truly do it. It's by coming to class. keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, following orders. You understand? Showing up to the high holy days. You understand? All of that. You understand? Any other questions?
Nah, sir.
Did Brother Mike have you follow up with anything?
Nah, he just said kind on kind.
All right, no sweat. All right. Where was we at?
Con, yeah, if you don't mind. We just got done with this, with the last highlighted portion.
Okay, let me see that book, Baba Shah. All right, so all the cultures that the North American Indians followed, you understand, were Hebrew customs. You understand? They weren't heathenish customs. You understand? These weren't savages running around half naked in the woods. You understand? These were men of the Lord.
Right.
You understand? These were the Northern Kingdom, the 10 tribes. Salakia. All right, give me 1 second. There's one other thing I wanted to hold on 1 second. All right, I want you to read this part right here. Start at this. Salaki, you want to read?
Come on, Council.
All right, start right here. You're gonna read from here, this last paragraph to.
Come to America.
Matter of fact, just read that whole paragraph.
Oh, come
Sure.
on.
Start at that one right there. It had the 9.
Come on, Council. This is the book of the history of the American Indians, page 84. He had 9 tribes and half of Israel, which were carried off by the Shalmaneser, king of Assyria.
So of course you remember, King the Shalmaneser. You understand? When the king of Assyria took the northern kingdom into slavery. You understand? They were slaves for 400 years in the book of 2 Kings. Read on.
And settled in Media, continued their long. It was very probable that were intermarrying with the natives, and for their natural fickleness and proneness and idolatry, and the force of example, they would have adopted and bowed before the gods of the Medes.
So what he's saying of the Medes. So what he's saying is that the fickleness of the native Indians, or the mentality of the people, had they stayed in those lands long, you understand, they would have taken on the idolatry, you understand, of the other nations. You understand? So they would have been, he was basically, in other words, saying, according to, how we use it in the UPK, they were weak and followed after other gods. They fell weak and followed after other gods. You understand? But read on.
And the Medes and the Assyrians and carried them along with them. But there is not a trace of this idolatry among the Indians.
He said, but there's not a trace of that idolatry among the Indians. So even though they were susceptible to worshiping other gods, you understand, there wasn't a trace of idolatry in the customs of the Native Americans that James Adair observed. You understand? So that goes to further show you that the Native Americans are the northern kingdom of Israel. You understand? They're one of the 12 tribes of Israel, because the customs that they followed were not heathenish. You understand? They did not follow no customs that they saw in these other nations. They weren't worshiping some moon god. They weren't sacrificing humans. They wasn't doing that. This is what they were doing. They were worshiping the Lord. You understand? Read on. They knew who they were. They knew that they were the 12 tribes of Israel. Like I brought out the week prior in this book here, Lost Tribes and Promised Lands, where he said, Salakia. Let me just turn to it, Baba Kashak. But basically, when he said we're of the tribe of Reuben, and the tribes of Joseph is on an island nearby. So they knew that they were the 12 tribes of Israel. You understand? It's us today that are lost in the sauce. Right. You understand? Because we the ones that's been lied to. Our history has been taken from us, even amongst the North American Indians. You don't think their history wasn't taken from them? You understand? Go to a reservation. There was more propaganda on the reservations than there was during slavery. You understand? Because here's the deal. The slaves, you had slaves that were fighting back and raising up and all this and that. But the Native Americans was actually going to war with Esau. You understand? So they went harder on the Native Indians than they did on us. You understand? Like I saw a picture of my great grandfather was a Cherokee Indian. And I saw a picture of him when he was a child. You understand? I didn't even know they took pictures this far back. But there's a picture of him when he was a child, and it's a bunch of kids. And all of them were Gadites, were Cherokee, and all of them had on suits and ties. They had their hair cut real short. You understand? A Native American man, same thing on one end, and then a white man on the other end. You understand? And it was a school picture. Because after they started to invade these lands and take over these Native Americans, you understand, they would set up these schools, and they were forcing the kids to cut their hair, to put on suits and ties, and go to school. And then guess what they was teaching them in school? Social studies, American history, English. You understand? The greatness of Christopher Columbus. All of these things. That's what they were doing in these reservations. You understand? So it's Native Americans that don't even know their true history. They don't even know. They thinking that they was what's the song called in Pocahontas? Chasing the colors of the wind. You understand? When the whole time they were serving the Most High, they was worshiping the Lord. They was keeping the Passover, the Feast of First Fruits, the Feast of Tabernacles. You understand? Read on.
Come on. The severe afflictions they underwent in captivity doubtlessly humbled their hearts.
So this is slavery that they went through for 400 years humbled the Native Americans. You understand? It humbled them. You understand? Read on.
And reclaim them from the service of the cows and Balaam.
So basically what it did is that slavery that they went under, it humbled them to the point where they turned away from worshiping the other gods, worshiping other nations' gods. You understand? Anything else on that?
Come on, concert.
Go ahead.
To the true divine worship.
To the true divine worship. Go ahead, read on.
Come on. A glimpse of which they still retain. And that the first settlers came to America before the destruction of the first temple may be inferred as it is certain both from Philos and Jephthah that the second temple had no cherubims.
Go ahead. So basically what he's saying is that, some of the tribes came over earlier. So they didn't all come at the same time. You understand? They came at different points. Now hold that. I want to show you something. So basically that slavery that they were in, it humbled the North American Indians, and it forced them to turn from worshiping the gods of the other nations. You understand? Hold on. Salakia. Give me 1 second. Salakia. Hey, Salakia. My phone just died on me. What's the scripture? Was it Second Ezra's? Second Ezra's. Was it 6? Hold on 1 second. I was in the wrong book. Salakia. Give me hold on a second. Here we go. Read this for me right here, Baba Shah. Second Ezra 13 and 40.
13. This is the book of Second Ezra, chapter 13.
Salakia, let me see that book.
Verse 4. Second Ezra chapter 13, verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Oasi, the king, whom Salmanassar, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters. And so came they into another land. Verse 41. But they took with this counsel among themselves, and they would leave the multitude of the heathen.
Said they would leave the multitude of the heathen. Read on.
Come. And go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. Verse 42. That they might there keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land.
That they would do what?
Keep their statutes that they never kept in their own land.
So because of the slavery that they underwent under the Assyrians, like James Adair said, it humbled the North American Indians and turned them back to the Most High. You understand? And that's where they came across. They sailed to America. They went in through the Euphrates River. Go read on, matter of fact.
Come. Verse 43. And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow passage of the river.
So they entered into the Euphrates River. You understand? Read on.
Verse 44. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood.
So he held still the flood. He kept the waters calm. You understand? He kept them calm so that they can make this travel, this journey. You understand? It's a long journey. Read on.
Till they were passed over. Verse 45. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half.
You understand? So it says for through that country. When it's saying through, it meaning that from the beginning of the journey unto the other, it took a year and a half to get to that country. You understand? It took them a year and a half. You understand? Now, just look at it like this, right? It took Christopher Columbus 6 months to sail from Spain to America. You understand? The Gadites sailed from the Euphrates and went all the way around the eastern coast of Africa and came up under South Africa. You understand?
Okay.
So it took them a year and a half to make that journey. You understand? They spent a year and a half at sea. Can you imagine just spending a year and a half at sea? Can you imagine that? You understand? That took a level of brotherhood. You understand? Like that is an amazing thing that them brothers did.
Right.
Sailing a year and a half across the ocean. Can you imagine the type? That seemed like some type of UPK operation right now.
Right.
You understand? Like that was glorious what them brothers did. You understand? Read on.
Coacan. And the same region is called Aseret.
Osiris. It's called
Osiris.
another. It's called another land. Akar Aratazar. You understand? It's called another land. You understand? This we are living in now, the land where never mankind dwelt. Nobody was here before the Gadites. You understand? The North American Indians were the ones who discovered America. You understand? While Esau was still thinking that the earth was flat.
Right.
Gad was making major moves. You understand? The Northern Kingdom was making major moves while Esau thinking that the earth is flat. You understand? Can think about that, man? Think about how powerful. Get the Most High a hand for that, man. You understand? Get the Most High a hand, man.
Right.
You understand? Because that just go to show you, man. Like, we are the greatest people on the face of this earth. It ain't no way to cut it. Ain't no way around it. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, there is no people on this planet that are better than you in any aspect of life. You understand? Guess what? You know, you got a lot of African hair braid shops. Well, guess what? They can't braid better than a sister.
Right.
They can't do it. You understand? I be hearing, I used to work around Eve a lot, and Eve even tell you, like, I ain't never let a Hamite braid my hair. It's never been done. You understand? But I told the sister one day, I said, I'm gonna mess around and let them Africans braid my hair one day. And the sister said, well, go ahead. They gonna snatch your damn scalp out. You understand? I'm like, what you mean? Like, them Hamites is notorious for snatching scalps loose, apparently. You understand? They don't understand what too tight mean. They ain't learned that yet in English class. You understand?
No.
Read on.
Coacan. Verse 46. Then dwelt they there until the later time.
And it says, and then they dwelt there until the latter times. You understand? They are here. The Northern Kingdom sailed from the Euphrates to somewhere on the earth where nobody ever lived at.
Right.
And it took them a year and a half to get there. So where you think they went to? Where they go to Australia? They ain't go to Australia. You understand? They came to North, Central, and South America. Cause guess what? You wanna know how you know they ain't go to Australia? Cause they ain't keeping no Passover in Australia. Them Aborigines ain't keeping no. They don't know what unleavened bread is. You understand? But guess what? They eating unleavened bread all day, every day down in Mexico.
All right.
Am I lying? Am I making it up? You understand? They got tacos. They got Central American tacos, Panamanian, Guatemalan tacos, Honduran tacos, all types of tacos. You understand?
Come.
And guess what? In every native tribe from North, Central, South America, you're going to find fringes. I don't see. I don't even recall ever seeing fringes on a Hamite tribe. I don't recall ever seeing it. Mark Dog, have you ever seen anything like that? You ever seen fringes on anything other than the 12 tribes of Israel?
Never.
I've never seen it.
Never.
You understand? I've never seen it. I've seen it when people try to copy our style. I've seen that plenty times. You understand? You see that all across Western America. You see the biker community even do that. They copy after the Western style, which the Western style is a copy of the Native American style.
Right.
Go ahead.
And I was gonna say, with these fake Israelite groups, what they try to do is they try to put on the dashikis, and then they try to put fringes on them.
Dashiki with the
Right.
good night. That's like straight up Roman Catholic
Right.
Hebrew Israelism. That's what that is. That's Roman Catholic. That's the Roman Iberism. That's what that is. That's that Roman Iberism. The Roman Israelite Church. That's what they is. Good night. Dashikis is not Israelite culture.
Right.
If you want to know what proper fringes look like, it's not difficult. Just look at Salakia. You got fringes on your pants? I'll give you an example of some fringes. These right here are fringes. These are fringes. You see how they big and bold?
Right.
You understand? Guess what? Go to a powwow. Every powwow across America, you're going to see fringes like this. You're not going to see little Joanne's fabric fringe rolls this short looking like you about to mop something. You understand? Them ain't fringes. You understand? Those don't count. You understand? If you want to get a good understanding on what fringes are, just look at the North American Indians.
Right.
You understand? And look at how they wore their fringes. You understand? Like they like a lot of fake Israelites will take that scripture talking about they made their fringes big and broadened the borders of their garments and all this and that. Get out of here. You understand? Go sit down. You understand? Because what you doing is broadening your fringes by wearing them dashikis. You understand? What the Israelites do is we are embracing the spirit of the Lord and not ashamed of it. You understand? We not ashamed of it. We ain't got to hide our fringes on our tank top, on our wife beaters, up underneath our t-shirt, up underneath our work shirt. You understand? I bet his brothers out here got fringes on their tighty whities, man. You understand? Got not fringes. What them things called? They call fringes, but them ain't fringes. Go ahead.
They call them tassels.
Tassels. I mean, technically, tassels and fringes is the same thing. You know what I mean? Like these are tassels. They call them tassels. Like when you order like leather jackets, they have leather jackets with tassels on them. You know what I mean? And they have the fringes going all the way down the sleeve. A lot of motorcycle gear has fringes and tassels on them. You understand? All of that comes straight out of Israel.
Right.
Because all of that Western style clothing the biker style clothing is inspired by the Western style clothing.
Right.
Because the modern day biker is like the modern day cowboy.
Right.
You understand? They wore the cowboy boots back in the day. Now they wear the biker boots. You understand? They just ain't got spurs on them. You understand? But then they got the tassels on them because they wear it because the tassels is a style choice. But the Gadites wore them because it was a commandment from the Most High.
Right.
And they did it throughout their generations. You understand? And here's the thing. So let me clear this up. What time is it? Somebody got a time check?
8:35.
8:35. Good. So let me ask you this question, right? You understand? So even in Native American culture, right? So I know a lot of brothers probably wondering like, You know, especially brothers just coming into the truth, because you didn't watch the fake Israelite videos. Now they got you paranoid, thinking that Christ can come back at any minute, and if he catch you without them fringes, he cut your head off. Well, that ain't how it work. You understand? That ain't what Christ meant. You understand? That ain't what the Bible meant when it said throughout your generations. You understand? It don't mean that all day, every day, put your fringes on. It don't mean when you go to the shower and you put your bathrobe on, make sure your robe got fringes on it.
Right.
You understand? What if you get out? What if all you got is a towel? Well, guess what? The towel better have fringes on it, because if your house shot come and them fringes ain't on that towel, you know that's how they make you think. They almost give you that train of thought.
Right.
You understand? But if you just look at like the Native Americans, they had during their feast days, or you don't see much of them having feast days anymore, but when they have their powwows, that is their modern day big events. You understand? And when they have their powwows, they wear special clothing. They call it regalia. If you go on Google and type in regalia, regalia, basically it's regalia, meaning coming from the word regal, which means that this is a holy garment. This is a set apart garment.
Right.
This is for this event, and it is special because this is our culture. You understand? They don't go out and put their feathers and their fringes and their garments on and walk around like that all day. They don't do that. You understand? They do that on their high holy days. You understand? And that is when they do it. And anytime there's something that they're doing that is considered special. Like for us, anytime formal is the proper word. Like for us, class is a formal setting. This is a formal setting. You understand? When you're stepping in here, you're stepping in the Lord's house. You understand? When you go to camp, that is a formal setting, because we are going out into the world and doing the Lord's work. You understand? When we celebrate our feast days, our high holy days, you understand? We are to wear our special garments. Make sure we have on our fringes and things like that, because it is our culture, it is our custom.
Right.
No different than Esau putting on a Santa Claus outfit and sitting in the mall molesting kids all day. That is a custom of this culture. You understand? Where our culture, we take on the spirit of the Lord. You understand? It's no different than when you see I believe we had camp for St. Patrick's Day. We was out there at camp at St. Patrick's Day. I forgot the St. Patrick's Day was even coming up.
Right.
And then all of a sudden we at camp, and I'm like, what, the Celtics got a game today or something? Like, what's going on, man? You know what I mean? And, you know, I be forgetting about Esau holidays now.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just wake up one day and my phone start going off with all my family in the world talking about Happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh man, that day done crept up on me again. Trying to duck and dodge everybody. Wow. Do like the dodgeball. Dick, duck, dick, dive, and dodge. The 4 Ds of dodgeball. You understand? So it's no different than when you see Esau wearing green and leprechauns and what else they do? St. Pat, what they call them, the 4-leaf clovers, shamrocks, all that green stuff. Wearing green. Don't they have a thing where if you don't wear green, they pinch you or something like that? Or is that some other foolishness? It's the same thing. I used to wish somebody would on St. Patrick's Day when I was in the world. Like I always say I was UPK before I was UPK. I just knew I did not belong here, cause it used to be St. Patrick's Day. I wear all red on purpose. Like I wish somebody would come up here try pinching me. That's assault. I got the right to defend myself. You know what I mean? That's a long time in the past. You know what I mean? But nevertheless, it's no different than those situations. When you see people in the world, Mardi Gras, when they celebrate Mardi Gras and they got the beads and the mask and all of that, it's no different. You understand? When you see the Passover, you're going to see Hebrews wearing their garments.
Right.
When it's the Feast of Unleavened Bread, you're going to see Hebrews wearing their garments. When we going to camp, you're going to see the Hebrews in their garments. You understand? So, like, anything else on that?
That's the end of the highlighted part.
All right. What time? What we looking like on time?
8:41 right now.
8:41. All right, cool. All right, so I want you to read. I was gonna have a go over that. All right. All right, I want you to read this part right here down to this part.
Okay.
So from argument 3 down to this part right here.
Gotcha.
And then we're gonna wrap it up.
This is the history of the American Indians. Page 89. Agreeably, Salakia. The theocracy or divine government of Israel, the Indians think the deity to be the immediate head of their state.
So what theocracy means is, like, you know how you have democracy, a nation ruled by the people, or you have republic, a nation is ruled by the government. Well, in this book, James Adair refers to Israel as a theocracy, as a nation ruled by a deity. You understand? So the Native Americans considered themselves to be a nation ruled by a deity. Read on.
All the nations of India.
Salakia, if I could, what other nation on the earth is ran like that? Is America a theocracy? It's a democracy. Well, it ain't even a democracy. I don't know what it is. Yeah, it's the devil the Bible speak of. That's what it is. You understand? Even the Elamites. The Elamites are not a theocracy. You understand? They're a republic. Every nation, even the Hamites, they don't have theocracies. They don't believe that a divine being is their ruler, is their king. They don't operate like that. You understand? The only people to do that was the children of Israel. Even in Egypt, in ancient Egypt, when we were slaves in Egypt, it wasn't an Egyptian god that ruled over Egypt. It was Pharaoh. You understand? It wasn't a foreign alien UFO that ruled over Babylon. It was Nimrod and his mother. You understand? But in the nation of Israel, this is the Lord's kingdom. You understand? Just like how the Native Americans, they were the Lord's kingdom. Read on.
Come on.
Salakia, they are the Lord's kingdom. Go ahead.
Come on. All the nations of Indians are exceedingly intoxicated with religious pride.
It says, hold on, read that again.
Come on. All the nations of Indians are exceedingly intoxicated with religious pride.
Now that's the devil coming out of James Adair. When he refers to them as intoxicated with religious pride. You understand? That's how all blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians should be. We should be intoxicated with religious pride. That's a way you can describe the men in the UPK. We are intoxicated with religion. Well, Salakia, we don't believe in religion, but you get what I mean.
That's right.
You understand? We have pride in knowing that we are the chosen people. Mm-hmm. You understand? Read on.
Come on.
Whereas in the Christian church, we didn't have that pride. Salakia. We didn't have that pride in the Christian church. You understand? The Christian church, guess what we taught? Be a good slave. Bow down to your master and pay your tithes. You understand? Let your woman come to church and cook for me and you stay at home.
Right.
You understand? And pay your tithes. You understand? Read on. Ain't no pride in the Christian church. Go ahead. Except for gay, there's gay pride in the Christian church.
Right.
Go ahead.
Intoxicated with religious pride and have an incompressible contempt of the white people.
Read that again.
And have an inexpressible contempt of the white people.
They have an inexpressible contempt. Meaning he can't even put it into words how much the Native Indians, a lot of them, did not like Esau. Read on.
Contempt of the white people. Unless we accept those half savage Europeans who are become their proselytes.
Proselytes.
Proselytes. Come
Read that again.
on, sir. Unless we accept those half savage Europeans who have become their proselytes.
You understand? Basically meaning, you understand, you're still an outsider because the Native Indians had a custom to where they was real weary of other nations. You understand? And even if they wasn't sure if you was another nation or not, they had a way of figuring it out. And I like to compare it to the ISUPK oftentimes, because even in the ISUPK we have a similar system where you come into the UPK and the first thing you're told is to do your 90 days.
Right.
Well, guess what? If you're a heathen, you ain't gonna do them 90 days. Or if you just a wicked savage like Esau, you ain't gonna do them 90 days. 90 days, man, I'm going to the Christian church and do my one day and go right back to the trap. You understand? But if you serious about the Lord, you're gonna do them 90 days. Go ahead.
Nothing is the most favorable name they give us.
Hold on, read that again real slow.
Nothing is the most favorable name they give us.
Is it nothing or nothings?
It's like nothings.
Nothings. That's what the Native Americans used to call Edomites. They called them nothings. They called them nothings. And it's a reason why they called them that. Read on.
In their set speeches, even the Indians who were formerly bred in amity with us and in enmity to the French used to call us in their war orations Hatuk Okapros. Is that right?
Yeah, you did the best you could.
The accursed people.
He called the Native Americans called the Edomites the cursed people. Read on.
But they flattered themselves with the name Hatuk Oriotopa, the beloved people.
And they called themselves the beloved people. Read on.
Because their supposed ancestors, as they affirm, were under the immediate government of the deity.
Read that again.
Come on, sir. Because their supposed ancestors.
Their supposed ancestors. Who else making this claim? The white man wasn't making this claim back then. You understand? These is people that they thought they ain't never even seen the Bible. Read on.
As they affirm.
Affirm. Read on.
Were under the immediate government of the deity.
Were under the immediate government of the deity. Much how Moses and everybody up under Moses was under the immediate government of the Most High. Read on.
Who was present with them in a 33 very particular manner.
Yeah, go ahead.
And direct them
in a particular manner. It's just referencing back to a page.
Okay, come on. And directed them by prophets.
By what?
And directed them by prophets.
So the Native Americans said that they people was directed by prophets, by the Most High. Read on. While
the rest of the world were aliens.
Were aliens. And ain't that something? Esau called Issachar aliens. You understand? They looked at the other nations like they was aliens. Read on.
And outlaws.
And outlaws. You understand? They were criminals. You understand? The white man is a criminal. The Elamite is a criminal. You understand? You don't believe that? Go to Jamaica. Go to Trinidad. They are criminal down there, man. Read on.
To the covenant.
To the covenant. They are outlaws to the covenant. You understand? They are, like, the covenant is righteousness. The law, statutes, and commandments.
That's right.
You understand? And the Esau is a natural outlaw to that covenant.
Right.
He is a natural born sinner, killer, murderer, hater, homosexual, child molester. He is the original gangster. You understand? Esau is the original gangster. Everybody want to talk that gang nonsense. Esau, the white man, is the original gang member.
Right.
You understand? He started the first gang. Gang culture didn't start in the West Coast. It started in England. And then it came over to New York. And then spread to Chicago. Because guess what? Al Capone was a gang member. You understand? I can't think of no other mafia people. Go ahead, read on.
Come on, sir. When the Archimagus or any of their magi is persuaded the people at the religious solemnities to a strict observance of the old beloved or divine speech, he always calls them the beloved or holy people.
He always calls them the holy people. You understand? The Magi, or the, what did he say, the Ark of Magi?
Yes, sir.
The Ark of Magi is like the high priest. Like Commander General Yohana would be like the Ark of Magi, because he's the high priest of Israel. You understand? And then the Magi is all the priests under Commander General Yohana, according to what the Native Americans believe. You understand? Not saying that we are Magi. It's two different things. You understand? It's just the terminology for what they use. That's what it meant. It meant the high priest or prophet. You understand? Read on.
Come.
Not no magician. We ain't Merlins and none of that. Did you already get to that last highlighted part?
Yes, sir. Come, sir.
Okay, that was it. All right. And let's see, we're gonna go a little more in depth into it. All right. Anybody got any other questions before we wrap up the class? No other questions? All right. Well, with that, we're gonna pass the class over to Precinct Officer Shaw.
Yeah, please proud for hand. This is the security announcements. We are the ISUPK, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. A rule for a new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to save themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and the sister will court each other. After this 6 months period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is the commandment. You'll find this in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, and the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. It means a tenth in the Hebrew, ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, gives to the treasury department or the teacher. Priest fund, that's a free will offering for the priest. Not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. The upcoming high holy convocation will be the memorial of the blowing of the trumpet, the first day of the 7th month, September 6, 2021, on a Monday. You will find this in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23, verse 24 through 25. Reminder, Akim and Akwatim, to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If anyone wants to become a trooper in the school to start wearing all black, that means boots, shirts, pants, and headscarf. And with that, shalom.